The Exorcist 3. Now this movie, just kidding, April Fools. You couldn't pay me enough to watch The Exorcist 3. I don't even know if that's a movie. Probably. Palm Springs. I am going to talk about the movie Palm Springs that came out in July of 2020, starring Andy Samberg and Cristin Milioti, and directed by Max Barbakow. This movie I was obsessed with. Okay, it came out at the perfect time. It's about a time loop, and I watched it probably 20 times. July 2020, I had that thing on loop. It was about a loop. It's hilarious. It's so heartwarming. It's super kind of weird. So, yeah, that's just the premise, and it's incredible. It's even more incredible than you can imagine with such a simple premise, which has been done before, a time loop. Okay, so Andy Samberg is stuck in a time loop at a wedding in Palm Springs. Cristin Milioti her sister is getting married, and they meet obviously at the wedding. I think Andy Samberg, it's just such a funny reason why he's there, because he's sort of someone's plus one. This girl, they're like together, but they don't really like each other, and so they do this wedding a million gazillion times, obviously. At the wedding, the onion is getting peeled away, and Andy Samberg is learning that the girl he's with is cheating on him, and then he meets Cristin, and they get along really well. They have such great chemistry. It's just fun to watch the two of them just play. So who knows? I mean, I'm sure he's maybe done this time loop thousands of times. He's literally stuck at this wedding. And at one point, obviously, the catalyst of the movie, Cristin Milioti follows him into a cave where he can die and start the day again, right? So she follows him in, so she's also stuck in the time loop. There's one other person stuck in the time loop, J.K. Simmons, who's fantastic. And he sort of comes in and out. So you find out that he's stuck in the time loop, and he had this one fun, crazy night at the wedding with Andy Samberg's character, Niles. Oh my goodness, it's so good. And they sort of do some drugs, and they're wandering through the Palm Springs desert, and he's like, "Oh man, I envy you, man. I don't want any responsibility, no worries, and just hang out in this desert till the end of time, and Andy Samberg okay, well, we can walk into this cave and make that happen. And so J.K. Rowling's character gets stuck in this time loop, and he's so pissed because that would suck to be stuck in a time loop. He's married with kids, and he's just repeating the same day over and over again. He can't watch his kids grow up. He's stuck. So what happened? So then he's taking revenge out on Andy Samberg's character. The whole time he's coming in and out, killing him. Because Andy Samberg will they'll both just start the day again, right? So Cristin Milioti gets stuck in the time loop, and they once she realizes, oh wow, I'm stuck here. Okay, her and Andy Samberg's, her and Niles, Sarah and Niles, just have the best time at this wedding, and they just turn it into this fun game, and they give each other tattoos, and just the montage is super fun, and they just have it's almost like an adventure movie. They do they crash into, they steal a helicopter, and then they crash because they know they're gonna restart the day again. And then slowly over time you realize that she sort of starts that day in a really terrible situation. So she's sort of reliving this nightmare again. And she decides, I can't live like this. So she starts sort of escaping. I mean, it's so unrealistic in the best way. Although anything is possible in the quantum field. So you never know. There could be people in your life right now that are stuck in a time loop. Think about it. The question that's so interesting that the movie asks basically by the end is like, if you were in love with this person, because they kind of fall in love, right? And they have the best time. And it's like, you're at a party. They're at this really fun, like, sort of resort in Palm Springs, and they're at the pool, and then it's like a fun wedding party. And at the end, Andy Samberg's like, let's just, like, I love you. Let's just stay here. Let's just live in this day forever, because we have each other. And she's like, there's no way. There's no way. So she sort of escapes every day and sits in a diner, and like, just like the power of a laptop and the internet. So she like learns about the quantum field and how she can bypass space and time and get out of the loop, right? And he's like, no, I want to stay in the loop with you. And she's like, there's no way. I'm not doing that. So she figures out that if they blow themselves up at the exact second, they can get out of the loop. And it might be a completely different time, or it might be, they may be like 60, or it may be the same day. It's so not realistic. It's so fun. It's like an adventure movie, except they keep repeating the same day. I would venture to ask yourself, would you do that? But what if it was like the best day ever? Would you just, if you could think of like the best day ever in your head that you've like ever had with your favorite person, would you just keep repeating that day over and over again? Would you? Like, if it was the best day ever. Or would you want to, I mean, of course, life is an adventure, and it's fascinating, the ups and downs, like, right? You realize that the bad days that suck are all part of life, and it's beautiful and fun, but like, what if you could just repeat the best day ever again and again? So watch Palm Springs and ask yourself, would you repeat the best day ever over and over again with your favorite person in the world? Or would you carry on in the bumps and curves and twists and turns of life? And do you think there might be someone in your life right now that is stuck in a time loop? Ask them.